Okay, well, this is part 3 of the uBitx video series. Right, okay, well, I've done quite a lot more, and I just really wanted to do a little, or make a little catch up. I made a mistake, first of all, right from the get-go. I actually managed to mix up these two ribbon cables. I'd actually put one here with my logic head on. I thought that side must be this side and that side must be that side. No, it isn't. It's actually here. It crosses over. So it kind of, this one goes over there. So this right hand set of pins goes over to the digital board, and then this one here goes over to the analog board. And from that point on, you shouldn't have too many troubles. You'll soon know if you've done it wrong, because it will basically short out when the encoder's gone over. And that brings me on to a little tip. Okay, I've said before in one of my other videos that when you are testing this sort of stuff, when you've built a project, you always use a current limited power supply. Now, there are ways of doing it. If you don't have one, you can use a light bulb or something like that. And the idea is that obviously if you put a light bulb in sort of series with something, then if it shorts out, then the light bulb will illuminate. That sounds a bit daft, but at least you can kind of get you can get like a little test, just to make sure that things are okay. Now obviously if the current draw from the kit exceeds the light bulb capacity, then the light bulb will light up anyway. But you need to protect yourself basically from, if you've made a mistake like I did, and then you turn it on with full current available, then obviously your board can go, basically be toast, or whatever your kit can be toasted, and that's not the idea. I've gone a little bit extra. I've actually got a current limiting power supply, and what I do is I set it on about something like 200 milliampere, or something very 0.2 of an amp, something very low, just to get some idea. And then what I do is I bring the voltage up from about sort of 8 volts up to about sort of 9 or 10 volts, just enough for the thing to start working. And that's exactly what happened. It basically shorted and kept tripping the power supply, and then obviously then it's down to fault finding and working out what you've done wrong. And in my case it was very, very simple. I'd misunderstood the wiring diagram and done this incorrectly. However, there are now some things that I need to check and to go a bit further. I've also noticed that there's actually there is a bit of an issue with CW on this, that when you're using a paddle. Now in the box kit that you get, the actual case kit from amateurradiokits.in, they give you this board. Now this is set up for basically a sort of fist type key, or a single key, and so that is a bit of an issue, because obviously here I much prefer a twin paddle, and I'm learning Morse, so I just prefer that. Okay, it works for me. However, you've got to do a modification to this board so that you can actually then work that, so you can actually use the twin paddle key properly. Now in the board kit you will get a couple of extra resistors. Okay, and I can't remember what they are. I think one's 10k and one's something else, 2.2k, is it, something like that. That will give you your basically your dip and your dar. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what you're after. Now I haven't worked out how to do this yet. I will work this out now. Well, in a minute I'll work out how to do it, and then what I'll try and do is video the modification. But while we're in here, I wanted just to show you here, if I show you this, okay, in the kit with the case, you'll get this. Let me zoom in a bit if I can. So I'll just try and work the camera. You'll see this little tiny board Okay, now you can see what I've done here. They give you a couple of resistors, okay, which I've actually put in here, upended them, and I've soldered them onto the base of the board because I couldn't physically get them in and then up against the case, because if you look here, this kind of goes through the case itself, and I don't know if you can just see that. As this goes through, then you kind of get very, very close to the actual metal work. Now the issue would be that there isn't enough space in here. They've not allowed enough space to get the resistors in laying down, so I've had to do them upended. Not a problem, because I've put them on the base of the board. And now what I've also done here is, I said to you I was trying to resist the urge for hot glue. Let me see if I can get that back in focus there. I've taken one of these little cable tie things here, okay, and the idea is that I've drilled a hole in the back, and I've drilled that exactly 5mm, and the LED just pushes through that, squeezes through that, okay, and that's just enough for it to protrude through, okay. And I've actually counterbored the back a little bit with a 6.5mm drill, just to take the ridge off of the LED, so that now it comes through just perfect. And what I'll do is, when this is all done, I'll actually modify a little cable tie just to go over the top here, just to hold that down so it doesn't pull out. What I'll do now is I'll show you where I connected this cable. So let me put you back on wide, and try and zoom you in. So what I'll do is I'll just take this board out now. This board has been out so many times. The actual radio itself works so well. I am really impressed with it. Really impressed. I was expecting, pretty basic performance, but what I've actually got is something which is actually quite good performance. We'll take this ribbon off. And thanks for not noticing the spelling mistake in the video I did when I highlighted in text on this. I was in a rush, did it, and I forgot a B in ribbon. Not twice, not once, but twice. Right, now then, if we rotate this over, you will see on the base here, let me just zoom in for you here. You'll see I put two cables. Now this is the TX relay, so if we turn this over, you can just see the TX relay here. Okay, RX TX relay. And what I've done is I've just taken 3 points off the back. Okay, black being common, which is the negative, okay, and then obviously brown and red there is TX and RX, or TX and RX, whichever. RX and TX, I don't know which one's which, but you can, once you've done this, you can then twiddle this round anyway, just to get it so it illuminates correctly. I just wanted you to see that so that you can duplicate that. It would be probably nice to stick something on the back there, but I haven't. Right, so let's get that back in. Another thing to point out, I think, is here. I was asked, let's get that out of there. Right, let me try and make a bit of room here. Right, okay, so let me zoom in. Okay, just here on this antenna connection, someone asked which one was, could I clarify which one was the hot one and which was the cold one. Basically this pin here, on this side, so that pin, I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in a bit further. So this pin here, that is the center of the antenna. Okay, so that is your hot pin. This one here is ground. All right, so let's get the board in. and this hopefully is the last time the board needs to come out. And as I say, I only took it out this time so that I could show you guys where I'd made the connection for the TX RX light. Like I said, I'm really impressed with this. It's been a lot of fun. It's not been too sort of taxing. It did have a few issues that were my fault completely, but like I say, they were, you know, with a little bit of common sense and a couple of cups of tea, it was a fairly straightforward thing to kind of locate and fix. So while I'm in there as well, I'm going to try and tighten those two back bolts up for the feet as well. And just so that if you guys are struggling with a screwdriver as well, I did find one that actually fitted to a degree in the end, and it was one of these. It's a Phillips 2, PH2 is the screw head. That seems to fit the best. Well, it seems to work anyway, let's put it that way. Everything else I've found so far has been a bit difficult. I'm just using this one because it's got a magnet in it. So there you go. And the good news is that these are calibrated from the get-go, from the factory. They're pre-tested, so you don't need to do anything like that at all. Let me see if I've got a spanner that'll go down there. Probably not, it's tiny little things. Right, okay, well I think probably what I'm going to do is have to use Mr. Adjustable again. Tell you what, this issue with Old English threads has driven me absolutely insane. That has been probably one of the biggest bugbears. Just basically old-fashioned threads. I think it's a flat screwdriver in there. Yeah, old-fashioned threads, not good. It's more reminiscent of a bicycle shop, finding some of these threads on here. But I think they're probably still popular in the US, so I think they still use Old English threads, so you'll probably find things like quarter 20s, which is what, UNF, UNC, something like that. Right, was it 27 was UNF, wasn't it? Or 24 or 27, one or the other. God, as I say, the last time I did anything like that was I was actually a kid working in a bicycle shop. Right, so this board here now, I'm going to try and have a little think on how I'm going to do this. I do have, if you check my website, which is www.gazlabs.co.uk, you should find, I'm going to try and keep the uBitx page updated with wiring diagrams and stuff as I find them. I'm just keeping like a Word, like a document, a live document going, so that guys can, you know, people can see it as they're building it. And like I say, this has been an incredibly interesting project to build. I've absolutely loved it.
and it's not an expensive thing. I'm looking for other kits, by the way, so if you know of any kit manufacturers or anything like that, or if you are a kit manufacturer and you want me to feature a kit, please email me, gazlabs@outlook.com. You can find the email on the my YouTube channel about. Ping me over an email, let me know if you have anything, or you know of anything, that would be really, really useful. Because, as I say, this has kind of sparked a bit of interest, I think, for people. I've had a lot of really nice sort of comments and people wanting to build things like this, and this, as I say, this has been a very easy kit to build. I have had a few teething troubles, like I said, and as I say, I've actually worked them out. But right, okay, let me work this out, and then what I'll do is I'll restart the video again when I've actually come up with a solution, and like I say, I'll put the wiring diagram and everything on my website. Okay, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so let me show you what I've done so far, and I've probably lost my little resistor now. Where did I put it? Tell you what, if I had a head. Oh, there he is. Right, so what I've done is I've made a small cut in that, just in this this track. Okay, now the idea is that there should be no continuity between that and the idea is that I can get, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, right. Right, and the idea is that I'm going to be able to put this resistor across there. Now that will link it to the base of this. Underneath this other side here, you've got the 4.7 4.7k resistor under this side, which this is the 5-volt line here, and this connects the key up with that, and this is the key signal here. So what I've got to try and do is I've got to take one resistor to there, and then I've got to take one of these wherever it's gone, so he's got to go there like so, and I've got to take that one, I think, to that one with the red black LED, sorry, the red black resistor, and that should be that mod done. So I'm going to try and get that in there now, and then we'll see how it works. There's also, they give a slightly different value resistor here as well in the board kit. Now I'm going to swap this 4.7 out for it's green, purple, black, I think it is. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, green, purple, black. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. So they're going to focus on it. Yeah, there you go. Green, purple, black. And I'm going to replace that one as well. So I'm just going to do that now. Maybe I can leave this running. Who knows? Okay,
that was on the fiddly side. So basically what I've done here is now I've bridged over from one contact. I've obviously broken the track underneath here. I've bridged it now with the resistor. This one is actually brown black black, and which is what should be in there, and this one here is this one's red black, and underneath here I've swapped the 4.7 here over for the one that came with the original kit, which is which I think was green, purple, black. Okay, so hopefully that is this bit modified, and that my little modification has worked. If that is the case, then that means that this is pretty much done. It means that everything is now it would be, well, hopefully everything will be up and running. So let me get it back together again. Let's see what happens. Famous last words and all of that sort of stuff. So let's get rid of that. And like I said, I will put all of these all of this stuff up on my website, www.gazlabs.co.uk. Make sure you drop along there and visit. Again, there's you know, you can do all sorts of things. There's loads of stuff there, from programming files right the way through to all sorts of things. I try and it's basically an electronic type blog, so you'll be able to find all sorts of things there. You also find the icon programming files as well for D-Star and stuff like that. So hopefully that goes in there like so. Now let's just pop him in there. This is a little bit tighter now these cables are crossed over, and that green one doesn't want to play ball, but I want him to play ball. So just kick the bottom in there just a little bit, and what I did here is I just split the Arduino from that point there. Okay, so let's have a little look, shall we, and see whether or not this actually works. I'll turn the power supply on. Now again, that this is plugged into a current limiting power supply, which is set for 12 volts now, and it's not drawing anything, so it powers on, and there won't be any sound out of it at the moment. But let me just what I can do is I can plug the speaker in and we can have a little look together. Alright, okay. Well, okay, that kind of started to work when I plugged that in, so let me get a load in there. Let's put that in. Just connecting an antenna to the back, and let's get this connected up. This is probably the most awkward part of it all, I think. It's getting this speaker connection back on. And I tend just to use tweezers. Don't know if you can see this. It's right hidden right down the bottom there. There you go. There you have it. So let's change down. Let me just give you a little bit more of a on the front. I don't know if you can see this. You've got the menu section here, and you can go into the band Now I was tuned around. Right. So we can set some of this stuff up as well. So let me just try and let's go in there. So VFO and here. You can set up the type of key that you've got, and you can set up whether or not it's iambic or yeah, it's working. So there you have it. So if you can hear this, haha, we have some success. Right. That's brilliant. Right. So let me put you back to over here. There you go. I'll turn this off. Right. Okay. So I'm going to start assembling this up. Oh, and I don't know if you saw also the if you look here as well. Now that LED with the I got interrupted by a phone call then. That's it's okay. Thanks, guys. Right. And now if I do... There you go. So, yeah, LED now working, TXRX. I'm going to get this zipped up so it's all ready to go. But I think that's it done. I think that's... I don't need to go into it anymore. So, brilliant. Very well, I might need to at a later date. I had a couple of good comments on one of the posts I did. There were people, the guy was sort of saying about that he had one on the go, and there were some other mods that he knew of, and I'm hoping that he'll come back and maybe share them. And what I'll do is, going forward, I'll add cat control and I'll add all the other bits and pieces as well. So really looking forward to that. I've got something else here as well. I've got an Alex loop to try with this thing, and I've also got a DX Commander has sent me over a DX Commander antenna. Now that is something that I want to spend a bit of time doing a video on, and I want to be able to take it out with a radio and actually get that up on the air. Need a bit of daylight to do that. Although I am off this week, I'm desperately trying to get as much done as possible. But anyway, thanks again for watching. It's a big thumbs up for this kit. If as I said before, if you know, or if you are a kit supplier or any kind of supplier and you want to feature anything, please get in touch with me. My email is attached to my YouTube, and I did mention it earlier. Just contact me. Let me know what you got, what you want to do, and yeah, brilliant. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Cheers. Bye bye.